John.
Looks like we're live.
Please stand and join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all. Thank you. All right, first item on the agenda, DPW, Mr. Sanchez.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for having us tonight on the agenda for this appointment. So tonight, I'm here after we interviewed for the position of water and sewer laborer. Paul Barrett and I did the interviews actually last week. And I'm recommending Jeffrey Josh for this position, who is here with us tonight. He actually worked for us in the summer in the cemetery, working for Paul Caldwell at the time. And he is currently working in facilities management with the Belmont Country Club. He has a bachelor's of science degree in criminal justice from Salem University. He's also certified in CPR and First Aid. Like I said, he used to work for us, and we're very happy to recommend him for a full-time job right now.
Thank you, Mr. Sanchez. Mr. Sagarino.
And with John's recommendation, I appoint Jeffrey C. Judge to the position of water and sewer laborer in the Burlington Public Works Department and ask that the board waive its 15-day waiting period.
So moved. Second.
I moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 5-0-0. Welcome
Okay,
aboard.
congratulations.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you very much, I'm very excited. Thank you.
Good luck.
Appreciate
Good luck.
it. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, next item also under the DPW, Mr. Sanchez.
Thank you, and I believe that you probably have a draft of one of the two agreements that we have with the town of Lexington, and this is gonna allow us to actually start construction of our next phase of the MWRA connection project, which we've been calling Phase 2A. If you recall, the January town meeting, that's when funds get approved for that project, and we're very excited that the bid opening is actually next week. And we hope to start construction obviously before the end of the construction season this year, and at least complete the water main portion before the end of the calendar in 2022. So again, this is gonna allow us to do that, and this requires, I think, the approval of the board.
Yes, Mr.
I just
Sagarino.
want to point out for the board's already seen this as a draft, and then when we got it back from the Lexington Select Board with their changes, and the only change you have for you tonight is the inclusion, we finally worked out the easement for the to allow the town to go and dig into the ground in Lexington. So the agreement's the same that you already approved. We do have this legal agreement as it relates to the easement that's added into the agreement that we're asking you to vote tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Sagarino. Any questions or discussion on this?
No, just, John, thank you very much for all the work you did. This was very interesting reading over the weekend. Thank you for that.
I just have one quick question, John.
Sure.
Will we have to go through the same process for Arlington?
No, thankfully, that portion of the job is gonna be constructed by the MWRA. So they shorten pretty much our whole distance by about a third when the MWRA agreed to construct that part. And in fact, if you don't mind, Paul and Mr. Chairman, I can give a quick update on that.
Sure.
We just met with the MWRA today and their engineers, because they are designing their portion of that job. And the goal is to have bids in January, February timeframe, so they can start construction during the same construction season in 2022 and have their portion of the main completed also by the end of 2022. So we're working together, and hopefully by the end of next year, we're gonna have the new 24-inch line pipe coming from Arlington all the way to Burlington.
And hopefully the pipes will line up when they meet, right?
We were working on that today, as a matter of fact.
Thank you, Mr. Sanchez. Then I need a motion to approve the intermunicipal agreement with Lexington. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion's moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sanchez.
Good night, everybody.
All right, next item on the agenda is appointment for the fire department. Chief Conity.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, fellow board members. Tonight, we're filling a vacancy for a dispatcher that was vacated when we appointed Tom Codwell, a firefighter, who he's currently in the academy. We had 8 applicants for the position. We interviewed 4, Chief Patterson and I, and Joanne Faust. And I'm pleased to present Adam Morgan. He's a Burlington High School graduate from the class of 2015. He is an athlete. He played lacrosse. He was the captain of the hockey team. After high school, he joined the Army. He spent 3 years and 9 months of active duty as a healthcare specialist, combat medic. He conducted sick call operations along with a battalion physician assistant. He's a platoon line medic with field, artillery, and infantry units. He made the rank of sergeant in his 3rd year. As a non-commissioned officer, he was responsible for overseeing all medical readiness of an entire battalion of approximately 600 soldiers. He's a lead instructor of tactical combat casualty care, and he's an evacuation team NCO. He's a certified EMT, he's a certified tactical combat casualty care, certified brigade combat team trauma, and he's a level 1 certified Army combat fitness grader. He was awarded the Soldier of Battalion Award, the 1st Brigade Combat Team Soldier of the Year Award, the Army Commendation Medal, and 7 Army Achievement Medals. We're very pleased to put forward the name of Adam Morgan for civilian dispatcher.
Thank you, Chief. Mr. Sagarino.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. With the Assistant Chief's recommendation, I appoint Adam Morgan to the position of fire dispatcher in the Burlington Fire Department and ask that the board waive its 15-day waiting period.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 5-0. Welcome aboard, Adam.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Adam. Great job. Great job.
Okay, any members of the board want to make a comment? Or
Actually, yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
for Andy?
Listen, this is very nice that we got 2 Burlington residents on the fire department as brothers, which isn't the first time it's happened, but it's nice to see it happening. I'm assuming that your mother back there with you right now, right? That's your brother and that's your mother, right? You must be very, very proud of your 2 boys, and you should be. They're both unbelievable veterans of the United States Services, and now they're firefighters here in Burlington. They've accomplished a lot. You should be very, very proud. They're 2 very great young men moving up the ladder. I'm assuming that someday, Andy, one of those 2 is gonna be at your job. I'm looking that way. No, I just want to say you must be very proud. They're great young men. They really are. So thank you.
Anybody else? I just wanted to say that, Mr. Hogan.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, congratulations and thank you for your service not only to your country but to your community. It's proud to see another member of the United States Army come forward and join the town family, and I look forward to great things from you. So congratulations and welcome.
Yeah, Jeff, congratulations. I mean, I think your resume speaks for itself. You've come, I had the pleasure of working with your brother for a few years before I retired. So you come from good stock, and I'm sure you're gonna have a great career here in town.
I just wanted to say, with a resume like that and a history that Chief Conity gave us, it's a shame you're gonna be inside. And I hope that at some point you'll climb up the ladder like a lot of other dispatchers and be out in the field, because those are some outstanding certifications in military history, so thank you. And
Mr. Chairman, we could put a time limit on it. You got 2 or 3 years maybe if it to be a dispatcher, we may be looking for other things for you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Chief Connery.
He is currently on the firefighter list, but he's not a paramedic. He is currently in the class to become a paramedic, so.
See you here next
That's
year.
the only thing holding him back right now, and timing.
All right,
So,
thanks,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Stay safe.
You too.
Okay, next item on the agenda is approval for additional rec programs on the town common. It's an annual thing, Mr. Sagarino.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Brendan Egan is in the virtual meeting, and he can fill us in on what he's asking the board to approve.
Okay, Mr. Egan?
Thank you for having me. We just have 4 items coming up. They're typical special events in the fall. The first one is we are looking to bring back Truck Day, and we are looking to use the common from Friday, September 17th to Sunday, September 19th. We'll start loading vehicles on Friday. The event will take place on Sunday. What we do usually over the weekend is when the vehicles come on. We would be on 9 to 6 every day. We'd be there all day with trucks, but the event will take place on Sunday, as I mentioned, and then we have another event that we started a few years back. It's called Trucktober, and that is a day of food trucks out on the common, activities, yard games, and then some entertainment, and that is on Saturday, October 2nd, from 9 to 6 p.m. as well. And then as we head towards Thanksgiving, we started a 5-day turkey trot a few years back, and it's grown each year. We're looking to utilize the common, but also the 5-day road route that goes through town from the high school around down Lexington and back through the backside of the high school, through Sunset and those roads up Stony Brook. And that would be Saturday, November 20th. Beginning at 7 a.m., going until noon, and then the tree lighting on Saturday, December the 4th. And that will be 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. They'll be set up, and then the lights will go on at dusk.
Thank you, Mr. Egan. I guess we could vote all these at one. Yep. What so desires. Any discussion on this?
Just one question.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Brennan, do you need any rain dates for these?
I don't, Truck Day, I don't think so. They would be, if we weren't able to do it on Sunday, it would be too difficult to bring everything back. I can double check on these, but the road race will probably go rain or shine. Tree lighting, we usually, the rain date is usually the Tuesday night after that Saturday. So I can double check with our program staff if they put in rain date. But I'm gonna say at this point, no.
Okay. That's all, thank you.
Any further discussion?
Glad to see Truck Day back on the
Yes.
calendar.
Yeah.
Glad to see a lot of things back on the calendar.
It's just hope we're headed in the right direction in the fall that we can do all of these.
Okay,
I'd
now,
like to make a motion to approve all 4 items with the dates that are issued to us.
is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500, Brendan.
Mr. Chairman, before he leaves,
Yes.
Brendan, I just want to congratulate you on a successful weekend. Do you want to give us a summary?
Sure, I will defer the congratulations and give it to our staff. They're the ones that really put that all together. I just do what I'm told for the weekend. We actually made the decision back in June to do this once things started opening up a little more. So Kelly Lehman did a tremendous job in the short 2 months.
We probably had 90% of the sponsors back that we usually have, and I'd say the same for the contributors and the nonprofits. It had awesome weather, and the crowds were perfect. I think it was a little less than typical years, but that's all right. It was a good transition year back. I think people had a great time. I've heard nothing but compliments. And then the firework, the concert at night was awesome. They were a great band. Car show, we had 18 cars, which I think is the most we've ever had. And then the fireworks were tremendous. So great way to end the evening. The common was packed, cleared off really quickly. The police did a great job getting traffic moving and out of there. And our program staff did a great job keeping everything going throughout the day, and the maintenance staff did an awesome job preparing the common and then keeping it clean during the day. So it was total team effort, and they did an awesome job.
Thank you, Brendan. Please thank your
for
staff.
all they did before, during, and after this event. I know it's not an easy event to run, so just thank them for us, please.
I will, thank you.
Okay, next item is a public hearing that we have to wait till 6:30 for. So do we want to go over the minutes? I think it's the only thing we can do at this point.
Minutes.
All right, Betty sent out the minutes, and everybody get a chance to review them, and if so, do we want to we have to approve them separately, because they're two different committees? Well, one's our regular meeting and one's the small cell special session, but we can approve both together, right? Yeah, whatever the board wishes to do on that. If that's the case, no questions or any discussion, I'd be looking for approval for
I
the
have one
minutes.
question.
Yes, Mr. Morandi.
I sent Betty an email on something that was, well, I just want to make sure it was fixed.
Yeah, she sent out the amended ones today.
You did?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't see that,
Yep.
I'm sorry. All right, thank you. All right,
Okay, so,
I'll make a motion to approve July 12th, 2021 regular meeting.
and,
Can we do them both together?
yes, we can.
Okay,
They're both
and April 14th, 2021 special session, small cells.
Motion's made.
Second.
And seconded. All those in favor of approving the minutes for these two meetings?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? All right, so the meeting minutes are approved.
Why don't we just work backwards for a couple of minutes, Mr. Chairman?
Sorry?
We can work backwards on a couple of these that.
Yeah, we
should
could.
be
I
easy.
don't know if anybody was coming in for item 219, but we could
220 we could do without any.
do that as well, so
220, someone is coming in.
someone's coming.
Someone's coming in, okay.
All right, so
19.
how about, all right. Item number 219 is approval for the annual block party, Mallard Way, September Lane. This is something that comes before us in the last few years. It's always well-organized, well-run. They've never had any issues down there, so.
Mr. Chairman, I think
Okay.
Jason, in the virtual meeting, is here to represent the block party.
Okay, I can't see him. All right, does someone out in the virtual meeting want to take the block party?
Jason?
Yeah, this is Jason Brown, I am here.
Oh, there he is, all right.
Would you like please?
Yeah, Jason, if you don't mind, just give us a.
Give us a brief overview.
Sure, absolutely. So, so as was said, I'm Jason Brown, I'm a resident here at 10 September Lane in Burlington. I'm here to formally request approval for our permit for our annual block party. So it's a party that we've been having in this neighborhood, and I just became the host of a couple of years ago, the year before the pandemic. It's been going on for about 25 years. It starts around noon and goes till, probably around 9 or so. In the past, we've had, close to 100 people. This year, I'm anticipating if we have, it'll be probably like half that. I'm guessing, given, the current environment. It's mainly, it's probably going to be about 50% kids. It's mostly for families. We'll have a bounce house, maybe 2 bounce houses, some music, and kids games and activities. So yeah, it's something that's been going on for a long time around here, and I'm hoping to continue the tradition because I think it's a great thing for the kids, especially in the neighborhood, for their memories.
Thank you, Jason.
Any discussion from the board?
I think it's a great idea.
All
Hey,
right.
Jim, on the agenda doesn't have the date, it just asks for permission.
Jason, what was the date you're looking for?
It's Saturday, September 4th, Saturday Labor Day weekend.
Okay, any other questions or discussions on this? Okay, that being the case, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the
No
annual
other
block party.
questions? Mr. Chairman, I'd like to approve block party for Mallard Way in September Lane
Is there a second?
on September 4th.
Okay, moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? 500, you're all set, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
Thanks, everyone.
Good luck again. Nice to think it's back to normal.
I hope so. Thank you very much.
All right. Give about 5 minutes before we can take the first public hearing.
Nick can always do his stand-up act if he wants right now.
Well, we can read the open meeting
Yeah, could you
notice.
read the?
What do you need me to read? What are we,
Can you read that one more time for me? I kind of missed that.
just for good old times?
You never know.
Lynn, someone from, for Diwali, was that someone who's gonna be present, or could it,
Yeah, he
they're gonna be
called.
physically present? All
He
right.
called today
Okay.
and told them the time. Okay, who's-
We do subcommittee reports for 5 minutes?
Sure, why don't we, subcommittee reports, we'll start, Mr. Hogan?
Yeah, I just want people to keep September 11th, it's a Saturday, in mind. We're going to be doing something on the Common to acknowledge and remember the 20th anniversary of that horrible day back in 2001. And we're doing a couple of additional things. We are having the patio at the memorial where the two rails are on the town common, and we're doing a patio there. We're also adding the name of a young man, a gentleman who graduated from Burlington High School and went to New York State and was a member of the state police and died from cancer from volunteering on the pile, what they talked about from the two buildings coming down. So we're going to be acknowledging him and adding his name and a plaque for him to the brick that surrounds the main flagpole. So we're going to be doing a couple of things. We're going to have a couple of speakers, and we're hoping to have a good ceremony. So if you're around and you would like to join us, please do so.
Is that it, Mr. Hogan?
That's it.
Mr. Priest?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Sculpture Park Committee is prepping the site with the DPW for the newest sculpture that was donated. It should be installed, I believe, if not end of this month, early next. A little foggy on that, and I apologize, but it's going in. It's going to, I mean, the photos look beautiful. I can't wait to see it in person. ISAC is moving full ahead with some cybersecurity stuff in terms of supporting staff and being supportive in that way, as well as being able to look at some other issues. I believe they're meeting later tonight. And then we've already gotten some applications for both of the new committees, both transportation and DEI. Betty's been keeping me copied on those, so we'll see how that goes in another week or so, and hopefully have some appointments for our first September meeting. Otherwise, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Priest. Mr. Morandi?
At this time, the only thing I have is hunting season's coming up, and there's, you can go on the town webpage as of next week and apply for an application for the landlocked forest strictly archery hunting. So that's coming up. I'll be giving more information about that at our next meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Morandi. Mr. Runyon?
No, sir, I have nothing to report tonight.
Okay. I really have nothing as well. Town Administrator?
Sure, I just, also, we had Celebrate Burlington this weekend, but we also had a tremendous event that you're forgetting about, Mr. Chairman, but Public Safety Night over at Wegmans was very well attended, a lot of families over there, a lot of great participation from public safety officers and neighboring communities, and always like to thank Wegmans for their participation. They just really do a great job contributing to the community. But I know you have some more details on that, Mr. Chair. I know you had a lot to do with planning it, so I don't want to steal your thunder.
Well, it was a very well-attended event. It was outside. We always seem to gather more equipment every year. This year, we added drones, ATVs, in addition to the equipment we've had in the past. We did have our dunk tank, and we did had, Officer Shane Thompson volunteered to go in the dunk tank. I also want to thank, the Chief's Administrative Assistant Rose Thierry for doing a lot of the planning work, and as well as Lieutenant Glenn Mills from the Police Department and Lieutenant Mark Sayer from the Fire Department. It takes a lot of planning and to do this, and based on initial estimates of what Wegmans gave away, we believe there were well over 2,000 people there, so. Again, it's a great night, it's a time when people get to see public safety personnel in a non-crisis situation, and they get to realize they're just human too. So we had comfort dogs there. District Attorney Marion Ryan was there with the comfort dog from their office. It was just a great night.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Wanted to note that I had to agree with my grandson Riley that when all the motorcycles started up, when they were leaving, you could feel the motorcycles, the sound and the roar as they went by. And it was rather impressive that there are that many communities that do have those kind of traffic teams around us.
Maybe we'll be joining them shortly. No, that is very impressive. They all leave, we started that a few years ago. When they all leave as a group with their lights on. And in that parking garage, just to see that whole display it's a great sight. I'm sure they can watch it on BCAT. BCAT will probably have it.
Needs a little work for editing, but yes.
Okay. Hey, anything else before we move on, Mr. Sagarino?
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I have 6:30. So the first public hearing, it's an update to Del Frisco's. And Mr. Sagarino, did you want to chime in? I know we're looking to probably continue this one.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we heard from the applicant's attorney, Mr. Devlin. He's unable to be here tonight. He had a conflict, but he did tell us that they have something, they're close to signing paperwork on someone to take over that license, and we should be hearing from them shortly. So we would request that that be continued to the first meeting in October. Lynn, the date on that?
Okay, so I'll be looking for a motion to continue.
October 4th.
Continue that hearing to October 4th, on or after 6:30 PM. Do I have that motion?
I'll make the motion, but I just want to say, I want to add that if Mr. Devlin says that's what it's going to be, I trust Mr. Devlin. But they should at least be told that in the past couple of years, we've had people tell us this over and over and over again. And that if they come back to us another time or two, that we'll probably start the clock and not wait another year or two before something happens. But I'll make the motion. October 4th.
Okay. All those in favor to continue this to October 4th?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500. Okay, the next public hearing on the agenda is item 213. It's actually, we've got to take a motion, it's opening a public hearing. It was open on, open on September 19th, 2019, a lot of nines there. It's continued for Pasito Restaurants LLC. And Mr. Vaughn, is it, not Mr. Vaughn, who's here to speak on that? Pasito's?
This is Basitos, not the transfer.
Okay, this is the Pasito license.
We would ask that the board continue this one to October.
Same day?
Yes.
All right, so I'll be looking for a motion to continue this one to October 4th, on or after 6:30 PM.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500 to continue to October 4th. All right,
This is full.
this is an approval for a transfer. It's a new reposting of a public hearing. This is for Fogo, to Fogo de Chao from Pasito.
Thank you, Lynn.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Hogan?
First of all, it has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but what is a new reposting?
There was an error on the advertisement the last time these folks came in, in terms of where the premises was.
Okay. So it was we never opened it then, correct?
Correct.
Okay, all right.
So they'll be looking for a motion to open this public hearing.
Yes.
Is there a motion to open this public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. All those in favor of opening the public meeting?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500.
Mr. Chairman, if you could just
Yes.
get the advertisement into the record,
Yep.
just to vote to add it into the record.
So we're gonna do, we're gonna vote to put the notice, to have the notice put into the record?
Yes.
Okay, is there a motion to put the, notice into the record?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500 to put the notice into the record. Okay, and who's presenting on this?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am Eugene Richard, attorney for the applicant, and with me is Raido Ramos, who is the proposed on-premises manager.
Okay. Are we gonna have, we start with discussion on this one, or?
Yeah, do you want to hear the presentation?
Yes,
and
that's what I was
then,
waiting, yeah, well, I think we're gonna hear this. Do you have a presentation for us?
I do,
Okay.
yes. As I say, I'm representing Fogo de Chaux, Churrascaria Burlington LLC. That is the entity who will be the licensee. We're seeking approval for three concurrent matters. One is transfer of an all-alcoholic beverages restaurant license from Besito Restaurants Burlington LLC, the current licensee, to Fogo de Chaux in Burlington. Two is to transfer from the Besitos location within the Burlington Mall to the premises being constructed at, I believe, the western portion of the mall for Fogo. So it's still within the mall, but at a different location, so that's a transfer as well. And three is approval of Mr. Ramos as the on-premises manager. So those are all three in the same application. So Fogo de Chaux Burlington is part of a corporate family which develops, owns, and operates fine dining, full-service Brazilian steakhouses, which are, the Brazilian term is churrascaria for steakhouse. And the corporate family operates some 50-plus locations, mostly in the United States, but including one in Boston, in Back Bay, but also Brazil, Mexico, and locations in the Middle East. So very experienced operator, very time-tested mode of operation. The way that Fogo de Chaux operates is they specialize in something called continuous service. And I won't try to pronounce that in Brazilian, but basically a team of Brazilian-trained gaucho chefs prepare and then also serve a number of different cuts of meat, beef, lamb, chicken, pork. The guests dictate both the pace and the portions of the dining experience. So what happens is the gauchos do the cooking, they come out with a skewer, and then the patrons, the customers, are given a disc about this size. One side is green, one side is red. So when it's red, you're not interested in more food. When you flip it to green, a gaucho or gauchos will start coming over and saying, would you like whatever it is they happen to have on their skewer. So it's an all-you-can-eat type of thing. And people like the variety of meats, the cuts they can get, the different types, as I mentioned. And it's a very fine dining experience, and very tasty. So in addition to what I've just described as a fixed price menu, as I say, all you can eat basically, there's an extensive salad bar, and then authentic Brazilian sides, as well as I would say more commonly, steakhouse type of desserts, and then also more to the point for a liquor license. You know, an extensive wine list, number of beers, and then a full bar. The signature drink, if you've ever been to Brazil, is a caipirinha. It's made with cachaça. It's a little bit like a mojito. It has lime and sweetener, and those are wonderful as well. So, a little bit about Mr. Ramos. He is now a resident of Burlington, recently moved here to manage and open and then manage the restaurant. He gained his experience with Fogo in Chicago restaurant, where he started, I think, as a busboy, but has experience in management, a number of years in that Chicago location. He is tips trained. He has several years' experience serving alcohol, and has familiarized himself with the local Burlington as well as Massachusetts rules and regs relating to alcohol service. So accordingly, subject to any questions, or I know there's probably going to be some discussion of the type of license, but I would respectfully suggest that, or ask the board, request that the board grant this license. And I was somewhat brief because I don't think there's any concern that the location is appropriate for a restaurant, plenty of parking, no traffic issues, anything of that nature. And also that Fogo itself is I would hope, we could go into more detail, but is an experienced, capable operator. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ritchie. When it comes to the liquor licenses, I always like to start with the subcommittee members. Mr. Hogan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've never been to Fogo de Chao, but I've been to Brazilian restaurants with the same concept. Food is fabulous, the sides are fabulous. I look forward to you folks being here. I'm glad you moved to Burlington, so we hope you're here a long time. But there is an issue for me with the license. That is the last license that's available for townwide use. And the mall has other licenses available to them. At some point, I hope to vote to approve this, but tonight, I'm gonna make a motion that we postpone or continue this another month and continue the conversation. I'm just not ready to give up that last license that we might need for other places around town when the mall has in its possession several licenses that are still available. So this has nothing to do with you in the negative, it's all positive. There's a yes vote coming sometime down the road, I am sure of it, just not tonight and just not with the Pasito license.
Thank you, Mr. Hogan. Ms. Morandi?
I'm gonna have to echo Mr. Hogan. I've been to your restaurant in Boston, it's absolutely phenomenal. I can't wait till it opens up in Burlington, and I don't understand why we have to use a town license when the mall has other licenses they can use for this. I'd like to see that license be used in someplace else in Burlington, in case we need it at some point. And I cannot wait to open, because I think I might be your first customer. So I'm just gonna have to postpone it till we can figure this out. I don't understand why they can't use one of their other licenses for this issue.
Is that it? Okay. Mr. Priest?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess we don't know where the Pasito license is going, correct?
Not yet.
Okay. It's all very confusing, I feel. Yeah, I mean, sans knowing where the Pasito license is going and all of that fun jazz, I kind of agree. I feel like if the mall just got approval for a whole stack of location-specific licenses, and, you know, if we can have the availability to have a license, I mean, I know that we're trying to, promote business throughout the center of town as well, and that would severely tie our hands for, allowing a small restaurant or operator come in. So, I mean, if if we're gonna postpone this to continue discussion, I'm happy to do so at this point until we have all the information on the table.
Is that it?
Yeah, thank you.
Nothing? Before I make my comments, Mr. Sagarino, would this be a motion to postpone?
Or continue.
It could be a motion to continue, it could be a motion to approve, or a motion to deny. Mr. Chairman, I just want to let you know, public hearing, we still want to check in with the public before you guys,
Right.
come to a
I
decision.
just do have a quick comment, then I'll see if anybody from the public wants to make a comment. Mr. Richard, I know you have a duty to act in the best interest of your client. We also have a duty, and that's to act in the best interest of the town. And as the previous selectmen have stated, I concur with their thoughts that we have to make a decision based on what's the best interest for the town. So, I think it's no secret that we all seem to think that there's numerous mall licenses available and one, for the rest of the town. And I think that seems to be the way it's going. I'll leave that as my comment. Is there anybody in the public, in the room or in the virtual session, that would like to make a comment or talk about this item?
I would,
Mr. Vaughn,
I don't know if you have a question for me. Obviously, as the board knows, I do represent Simon. If it's going to be continued, postponed, then I'm not sure there's anything I can say that is going to alter that landscape right now. But I do think it's important for me to just indicate that the site-specific licenses that were granted somewhat overwhelmingly by town meeting, I'm losing track of time as to when that was done. They are being utilized. I think as the board knows, we've been before you for Parm, or Shake Shack, or Waiukaku, I'm probably mispronouncing that, for Common Craft. There's a new restaurant that we just submitted an application to the planning board for a special permit. That'll be before you soon for a full liquor license. So all of those site-specific licenses are being utilized, albeit a little bit slower than what I think everyone envisioned pre-pandemic with a COVID, hitting us as they did. So,
Mark, they can't hear you.
Nobody can hear you.
oh, I'm sorry.
Could we, Mr. Ramos, could we change places with? Thank you, sir.
Sorry, Mark, start from the beginning.
Sorry.
I just thought you still had one up in the ceiling or something, but, again, just for the record, I do represent Simon, the mall owner, and I just wanted to make it clear to the board that the site-specific licenses, which were approved by town meeting, I want to say about 3 years ago, I think there was a recognition that those were going to be important as an economic linchpin for the redevelopment of the Burlington Mall, and they are being utilized. Over the past year or so, we've been before you for 5 of those, for Parm, Common Craft, Shake Shack, Guayukaku, and there's a application that was just filed with the planning board for a new restaurant, for which we will be also seeking a liquor license. So it's been a little bit of a struggle, shall we say, in terms of just how the COVID and the pandemic has impacted the retail landscape and hitting the pause button. But in my discussions with Simon, they intend to utilize all of those licenses as part of the mall redevelopment. But I just, again, I didn't want to get into a debate on it, but I just wanted to make it clear that those licenses which were approved by town meeting, I don't think from Simon's perspective, the intent was to ever take a step back in terms of, losing licenses that were there at the Burlington Mall. I don't think that was ever, stated that, we're going to get these new site-specific licenses with the understanding that we would be giving back licenses that are there at the mall. I think it was going to be a net positive to what was there. I could, understand if the board were concerned that, we were, Fogo was looking to acquire a license that wasn't already at the mall, for example, adding another license to the mall that wasn't there, but that's not the case here. So, and, I think lastly, I do want to also emphasize, and I think as Mr. Sagarino was aware, there have been discussions recently with representative of the mall. Macy's is separately owned, that they own their real estate. is likely going to be an opportunity to see further reinvestment in that location, to be able to, you know, respond to market demands that are out there. So I think, from our perspective, it's important to have those licenses available to help fulfill that vision. But, again, so, thank you for listening to me.
Thank you.
Mr. Randy?
If you don't mind. So, Mike, excuse me, one big question is, how many licenses does the mall actually have right now? They have around 14 licenses, right? Roughly, somewhere around that area?
Are you talking between the
Just give me a-
site-specific
yeah,
ones, or?
Just all together.
Yeah, I don't know if I have an exact number, Joe.
Okay, that's
but,
fine. So what I'm actually gonna get at, the bottom line here is, what we're asking right now is not to use that specific license. That license could be available in 6 months or a year from now that nobody in town wants to use, which we will, at that point, I'd be more than happy to give it back to them. Right now, we're asking them not to use that specific license. So they have other licenses that are still available, so let them use one of those. And if no one comes to the center of town and no one comes to another place, well, we don't need that specific license because it's the last one that we have left. That's what we're looking to do right now. So that's what we're looking for. We're not trying to take stuff away from the mall that's already been there. That one license is a town license that we would like to keep for the town. They still have plenty of other licenses through the town meeting and everything else they've done to go ahead and use that other license that they have. And if it works out that way, that's great. If it works out that that license is available in a year from now and we need it someplace else, we have it to use. That's what we're looking to do. That would be the best interest in the town of Burlington. To give up that license right now is not the best interest in the town of Burlington. So we want all those restaurants to come in, we want him to come in, we want all the other new ones to come in. We're just asking not to use that specific license right now.
I think Gene wants to say something as well, but I don't want to be, you know, argumentative at all. I think you guys know me pretty well. I'm not looking to, but there was significant value for that license when Bacito went in. They had to acquire that license, and it wasn't just tens of thousands, it was more like hundreds of thousands of dollars. So there was significant value that was subscribed to that license. And so I think that's an element of it as well that factors in. But Gene?
Hold on, Mr. Sagarino.
Mr. Chairman, I would just say, Mark, I think the board's shown good faith. Bacito's been out of business for quite a while now, and the board has not taken the license back. They understand the financial commitment that was given, and it's not their intention to take the license back from Bacito. I think they're just asking what order we go in on these licenses, and if we get through the mall licenses in quick time, then I'm pretty sure the board would be happy to provide the Bacito license to another restaurant at the mall. So I think it's just a question of what order do we use the licenses in.
Mr. Chairman.
I think 2018 is when Bacito officially went out of business. So I think the board's been very patient and shown a lot of good faith towards Bacito and allowing them to keep the license up until this point.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. And certainly there's been other instances as well where the board, I think, has recognized.
Mr. Richard, I'll get you on second. Mr. Hogan.
Yeah, again, this is not to start a whole long discussion, but Fogo's been in the pipeline for a while. How has it been determined that they get the privilege of paying the big bucks and everybody else gets the inexpensive license? You know, that if they're all coming into the mall, they should all come in at the same level.
I think they are, Bob. I don't think that there's a payment involved with this liquor license.
And so what is Bacito's benefit then of selling it?
There's been value subscribed to it through the process, with them having to leave the mall when they did. And I can't get into those specifics because I wasn't party to, you know, to that, but, so.
So who is Fogo buying the license from?
Fogo is taking an assignment of the license. There was a license agreement between Bacito and I believe the mall owner in terms of taking the license. And then that was assigned to Fogo.
Okay, but no one has the right to take the license except us. So let's get some more information because now I'm getting confused as to what's going on. Because if we're saying that Bacito has an investment in this and they need to sell this for whatever bankruptcy stuff that's going on, and yet they're not getting anything for it, then I'm confused as to why we're having the discussion.
Yeah, I think there was a letter back in September of 2019 from Bacito to Mr. Sagarino that kind of set that out, but
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hogan. Mr. Richard, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
I do, if I may. I just want to say that I become concerned, and as you say, I have to, I'm here to represent Fogo as well as I can. I also am not trying to get in the middle of, what has been a long-running issue in discussions, although Fogo is kind of in the middle. So what I want to say is, I heard earlier, I become concerned if all of the mall licenses go out and Fogo does not get the Bacito license. I don't want Fogo to be left, when the music stops without a chair, without a license. So what I had thought to throw out to the board or suggest for consideration, and nice that Mark is here, that he may have a thought as well. But I would like to see the board grant this motion, grant the Bacito license, with the understanding that, as some of the members were saying, in 6 months, this may look differently. And if there are then definitely mall licenses available, I can tell you that Fogo's position all along has been, Fogo is neutral as to what type of license, whether it's the mall or the Bacito. But I would suggest, except they want to open the restaurant. And the current date is September 28th. So if we come back, lose another month, I start to get concerned. I know my client will be. So what I would propose is grant this license, and I can tell you that in a few months, in 6 months, whatever it happens to be, if the board wants this license back for a mall license, it would be a seamless, as far as Fogo is concerned. I can't speak for the board or obviously the mall. Fogo would not oppose, turning in the license and getting a mall license, say the same day. I mean, it could be arranged.
I have a comment here. Actually, it's a question and a comment. And Mark, please correct me if I'm wrong. Town meeting asked for special legislation. I think it was for 9 liquor licenses at the mall. 4 are used, 1's in the process. 4 were granted, 1's in the process. That leaves 4 open for the mall. No?
We have 9. It's
We have 9?
9 available.
9 available, currently available.
Yeah, it was.
I think that, Mr. Richard, I think that gives you the answer that there's, the supply and demand, there's plenty of, supply out there from the mall. So,
And it's just a timing issue still, I think.
well,
And we, no.
well, the timing's been, like, as Mr. Sagarino stated, it's been 2 years. So, that timing is not our fault.
And I don't mean to even imply that.
No, I know.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
I'm just trying to have a way to
The
deal
mall
with it.
has control of the licenses. If they want you in there on this October date, then they can give you a license. And then.
But it has to go through the licensing process.
such as this.
And we've made it
Sure,
clear that
and
with
it's
one of
the
those
same.
licenses, you would get a yes vote.
Yeah, but then we still have to go through the ABCC.
yeah, I think what
Just
Gene
takes
is
time.
saying is that, what's your opening date?
The 28th.
Of September?
September.
So if you continue this to, I don't know even what date if there was a date floated, but there's no way that they could be able to accommodate that.
Anything further?
Does anybody have the letter from 3 years ago that we can take a look at? I'm gonna ask that question right now. Because I mean, even if I saw it, which I'm not even sure I was on the board at that time or the time of all of it, I wouldn't even remember it. And I mean, I'd love to refresh my memory so I understand what is going on between Basido and the mall. That, I mean, like, if this was just a typical transfer and sale from Basido to Fogo, I think that makes more sense. But now because Basido's bankrupt and the mall's involved and the mall has other licenses, I feel like there's a lot more pieces on the board here. I just want to get, again, a better understanding of what's going on. So do we have a copy of that?
I'm positive we have it in the file. I'm certain you'd probably need to be a lawyer to understand it.
Fair enough.
But
We have two lawyers here.
All right. Anything further from the board? In summary, my own summation, based on what we've just gone over, the mall has 9 licenses available. We have 1. You want the 1 license, not you. Your client wants the 1 license that we have, that's ours. The other 9 are at the mall. I just think it's a matter of, we have to do what's in the, as I stated earlier, we have a duty to act in the best interest of the town. And I think by asking Fogo de Chao to try to get one of the mall-specific licenses is the best thing for the town, in my opinion. Anything further?
The only thing I'm gonna ask is one more question, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just want to say, Mr. Chairman, I think we do have a person with a hand up when you get to that point. We just want to go back to the
Okay, Mr. Runyon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would be willing to hold a special selectmen's meeting if we can come to some resolution before, our next scheduled meeting in September. If that would be of any help to buy a little time and get your restaurant open on time.
I appreciate that, and I'll just say, I'm not even sure who to go to for the so-called mall licenses. I mean, are those controlled by Simon?
Sitting right next to you.
Yeah, look to your right.
All right, so we would still need an agreement with Simon for the mall license?
Yeah, I can't speak to
So-
that, but
Which we don't have, is what I'm saying.
yeah.
But again, the mall has extended this discussion by not giving you one of their licenses so that you could have come here tonight and gotten your approval.
You know, I do feel compelled to say, through the chair, the license has been, Basido did close a while ago. I'm not gonna debate that. But as the board knows, we've been before you giving periodic updates that we're close to getting a tenant, close to finalizing a lease, close to finalizing an application. We had COVID that impacted it. It decimated the restaurant industry. And the fact that you've got restaurants now that are going forward after all of that, I think is very positive. And, Basido has been paying the renewal fees for this license every year as well for the past few years. So, they've been putting in an economic investment to keep that license. So I think, and just lastly, the Burlington, the site-specific licenses apply to the entirety of the Burlington Mall property, not just Simon. So it's the Macy's piece, Lord and Taylor, obviously they're closed. Hopefully we're gonna see something happen there in the not-too-distant future. And I think that, all of those licenses, the intention is that they're gonna be used, and if they're not available, then it could, create a situation where, you're not able to redevelop something there that you might otherwise be able to. So, I just wanted to, make that clear that, we've been at this a while, and, unfortunately, COVID did have an impact in terms of the timing, not being able to come in a year and a half ago and start this restaurant process, but it is happening. And as I said, there's another license application we'll be submitting shortly. I've been in touch with Simon. They have 2 other restaurant deals in the works, so they're happening. And, they will eventually be utilized, so.
Thank you, Mr. Vaughn. We had a member of the public who wanted to, what, sorry?
She's on phone and she can't unmute, so I told her if she wants to type it in quickly, we can read it.
So you're gonna,
Yeah, we can't unmute her. The way she called in.
okay,
But
so.
so I just told
All
her.
right, so do we have our
It's Millie Nash,
Millie
but she
Nash.
has not asked the question. I told her she wants to type it in quickly, we would read it.
Billy, if you want to type that in, we'll have Lynn read it for us.
All right, but Jim, let's go with what we got.
Is that,
Let's go with what we have.
I think that was the one that raised the hand.
Oh, is that's
Yes.
Millie, okay, all right.
Any other comments from the board while we're waiting for Millie?
Mr. Sagarino, how do we respond to Mike's suggestion and how we continue this down the road?
Well, I think the minimum is we need a 2-week advertisement period. So depending upon how quickly we could get on the same page on the application, we could advertise it immediately and schedule it for as soon as possible, given the requirement to advertise.
Okay. Is this hearing, is it possible to have a motion to continue with us giving you the permission to determine the date based on what you just said to us without us picking the date, or do we have to pick the date?
My suggestion, Selectman Hogan, would be that you continue this hearing and then we could set a new hearing for the new license application if Fogo is
Okay.
amenable to that.
So we can establish a date for a future hearing, but we can adjust that if we
I
have.
would say continue this, and if they choose to pursue one of the other licenses at the mall, we would handle it as a new public hearing and start from scratch.
And could we have a special hearing for that to help get them
We
moving?
could do it as quickly as the law would allow us to,
Okay.
given the newspaper advertisement and whatnot.
For the sake of when I do make the motion, what is the date that we would be using for that, Lynn?
Millie, I'm told *6 could unmute your phone so that we could hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, okay, because I just typed in the question. What I wanted to say was that this is Mildred Nash. I'm a town meeting member from Precinct 3, and as I listen to this discussion, I am glad to see the Select Board taking their time on this issue. The town meeting that granted, I believe it was 10 more liquor licenses for the mall, was pre-pandemic, and so much has changed vis-a-vis restaurants, Burlington, and all of the pandemic issues. I think that you are wise not to give this last license of this kind too readily when there are questions that still are not answered. So I commend the board for taking their time on this. Just wanted to say I think that's what town meeting members would prefer, given the number of questions and concerns they had about so many liquor licenses. Thank you.
Thank you, Millie. So,
Again, to my question, what would be the next date that we could post
September 13th?
a hearing?
We need the information from them. If they came back to us tomorrow, then we can immediately, put in so that it can come, you can have the meeting 10 to 14 days.
Okay.
But we need the information before we can go ahead with that.
But Paul said we should establish a hearing, and then they would get back to us, and then we could redo it then.
No, my suggestion was if they reapply
Yep.
for one of the mall liquor licenses, then we start the process as quickly as possible from
So-
that point.
But what do we do now not to, we can either approve or deny or continue this?
Whatever the board's pleasure.
So, Mr. Sagarino, if I have this correct, we could make a motion to continue this public hearing. In the meantime, Mr. Richard, you can see we're doing everything but granting you that one license to give you a liquor license. If you can reach out to the office staff, we will have a special meeting for the new application/license. So we'll do that. The sooner you get that done, the sooner we can meet and address that issue. If that's the case and we issue that license on that day, or a license on that day, then we can close this hearing and be done with it.
Correct, that's
All
my
right, so-
understanding.
So,
So I'm
Our
looking for.
next meeting is, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I just started talking.
I was gonna say, I'd be looking for a motion to continue this hearing till, Lynn, do we have a date?
September, what's our next meeting?
13th.
13th. So,
You have to close the public hearing first, Mr. Chairman.
Close it or continue it?
You could close it or continue it and still continue your decision.
Okay, so any more input from the public on this? Seeing none, I'll be, oh, sorry,
I still had one question.
yes.
I believe it was in July we were here on a different notice that didn't mention a transfer. And I don't know what the vote was at that point, but if that hearing is still open,
I don't recall that we opened it or,
I don't think we even opened that one.
I don't recall. that
did
we
nothing with that.
We took no action because it had to be re-advertised. So we didn't even open that one.
All right, well, I was gonna say, then you would have both of those
Yep.
on the table, so to speak, but no.
We can
Okay.
check into that, certainly.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
If we only need 2 weeks, couldn't we hold a special meeting on the 23rd of August?
we can have a special meeting almost, I won't be here for that one, but
so we
Yes.
can't do anything until they come up with one. So all we're gonna do tonight.
Right now, we're looking to
All we're gonna do
continue
is
this.
continue this hearing to September 13th.
Right.
I'm gonna make a motion to continue this hearing, so I'm gonna make a motion to close.
I have to close it.
I'm gonna make a motion to close the public hearing.
Is there a second to that?
Before we do that,
Yes.
if we continue it to a date certain, and then we hold a special meeting in the meantime, that's okay?
Yes,
Okay, as long as we can take it,
yes.
okay.
It will be a different
It
application.
will be a new application.
Yeah, it's a new
I
application.
got you, okay.
So Joe's made the motion to continue this matter to September
So I
13th.
made a motion to close this
Oh,
public
sorry, he
hearing.
made a motion to close the public hearing first.
Right.
Is there a second on that one? Mr. Hogan? All right. All those in favor of closing the public hearing?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500, closing public hearing.
Now I'll make a motion to continue this meeting till September 13th, on or before 6:30, is that right?
Do we have a second to that motion? Mr. Hogan seconded. All those in favor of continuing this application to September 13th, on or after 6:30 PM? Aye. Opposed, abstained, 500 to continue this here. Okay,
So with the understanding, guys, that we all know that if something comes up quicker.
and
we
if a
can
new
do it.
application comes
We can
up,
all meet and have we can have legally wise.
yes.
So,
Right.
I feel
Any-
bad for Mr. Ramos over there, he just wants to run a restaurant.
Right.
He just wants to get that food out and get it to my table, because I want to be sitting there.
We appreciate
Mr.
your
Richard, you have five board.
consideration and.
We have 5 board members who are willing to take a night out of their lives to address this issue, so.
We appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, thank you for your time.
Okay, next item on the agenda is item 215, approval of the alteration of premises at 324 Cambridge Street. Mr. Vaughn.
Good evening again, Mr. Chairman.
You want your client to come up with you too?
Yeah, why don't, yeah, sure. Now that I have you sufficiently warmed up, so I will introduce myself again, Attorney Mark Vaughn with Reamer Bronstein, representing the applicant AL Prime in connection with the application. With me is Ben Darwish, who is the general manager of the location on Cambridge Street, along with Brian Hughes, who's with AL Prime as well. And I think we may have another gentleman, Tony Guba, who is with AL Prime, participating remotely via the lovely state of Texas. But as you may recall, we were before you last year, where AL Prime took over the former location where Carly Convenience Store is, and the board was gracious enough at that time to grant a transfer of the beer and wine liquor license that existed at that location. And they have been operating there since. I want to say that was sometime, maybe a year ago or so, where they did seek that application from the board. So since that time, they did have an opportunity to be able to expand into the adjacent space that was formerly another retail location, and it provided an opportunity for AL Prime to be able to have more offerings for convenience food items, offering some frozen food items as well that it didn't really have the room to be able to do before. So
Hold on,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Public hearing hasn't been opened.
What's that?
Public hearing hasn't been opened.
Okay. Mark, before you go on, we have to open the public hearing.
Okay.
Is there a motion to open this public hearing?
So moved. Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained?
Yeah,
500.
advertisement.
And we also request that the notice to
Oh,
go into the
public
record.
hearing,
Any motion, Bob
So-
make the motion?
so moved.
Nick second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? All right, so the notice is now in the record. Sorry about that.
No problem.
All right, now you, for the second time tonight, you're gonna start from the, no, I'm only kidding.
All right.
Continue.
I can pick, all right, great. That was a mouthful, but, so, again, the applicant had an opportunity to expand the convenience store into the adjacent space, which it has done. And as part of that, they relocated the wine and beer offering space from one portion of the far right-hand side. If you walk in, it's now on the far left-hand side. Same square footage that the board had previously approved, same operation, same layout, generally speaking, and they did keep it to that same exact square footage. I don't know if you all have the floor plan, but I made extra copies here, but I think hopefully you can see up the top what it was before, and on the bottom what it is now, and you can see that it remained at that 579 square feet, which is what the board approved. So I think that there was, on behalf of AL Prime, they weren't aware that technically that did trigger an alteration if they kept it to the same exact square footage. So obviously, apologies in that regard if there was something that was overlooked or not done. So I do think this layout actually functions a lot better from board and alcohol control as well, in that previously you had that emergency egress that was on the far right and continues to be on the far right. And that actually went through the area where beer and wine was stored and sold. So now, by moving the beer and wine area over to the far left, that emergency egress isn't impacted, so that for those portions of the day when alcohol is not able to be sold, in terms of whatever hours those are and whatnot, you know, that would allow the emergency egress to, you know, function freely without folks having to walk through there. You know, with that, there's really not a lot more to it. I think that Ben has been the manager here since taking over the facility last year, and very much aware of what the town's requirements are relative to alcohol compliance and checking folks. The cashier area has remained the same in terms of where it was before. The same rigorous standards are in place in terms of checking identification. I know you have a kind of a high-tech card reader that you use to verify IDs and whatnot, and there have been no instances of any violations since they've been operating. So with that, happy to answer any questions or address any comments you might have, but certainly appreciate the board's hopeful approval. And they've been a good operator there, and someone that I think is adding a nice addition to the town. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vaughn. It's time to start with you, Mr. Morandi. Any?
Just a quick question. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mark, so the whole, when you're looking at the store head-on, the whole left-hand side is gonna be basically a package store?
Not the whole, well, the far
Walking
left.
the door from the left-hand side over,
Yeah,
from that
exactly.
wall they have built in there, that whole left-hand side is gonna be a package store. They're gonna take out the rest of it that's over on the right-hand side that they have now?
Yes.
And what is it, 500 and something square feet, is that what you're saying? 579 square feet is gonna be a package store, basically?
Correct. Same square
Package
footage.
store with a food, some type of a food, and then a gas station?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So they basically, Joe, I mean, to boil it down, they really just kind of flipped the,
No, they didn't really flip, they added 500 square feet. So
No,
it's
no,
not
no.
really flipping, they took 3 or 4 coolers that were down the end, and they're making a whole package store down the far end, is what they did. So they took out maybe 5 chests, but now they're putting in this whole 500 square foot area. It's flipping, yes, you're right, you're 100% right, it is flipping. They are going from one end to the other, but they're going from four coolers, maybe 5 drawers that are way up on the end, to an actual whole package store down this end. So there's a big difference. There's a big difference what's there and what's going to be there.
yeah, I
Yeah.
can't speak to that in terms of the
No,
offerings.
that's
or-
just,
yeah,
that's
yeah, I
just
mean,
facts, you know?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I got it right here, thank you, thank you, yeah.
they're limiting the square footage, they are limiting to the area that was previously
Right.
designated.
That used to be
for
the
that
foot store or
purpose.
something like that. the massage place, whatever it was.
Yeah, I
That's
don't know
what was
what
in
was
there
in
prior
there.
to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so.
okay. That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brady. Mr. Hogan?
Just, part of the problem with this was the communications on the town side also, which is why we, gave them the waiver to continue to do business. And with the new building inspector, if John Clancy were still here, it would have clicked for him that we should have been notified also. So, it would take some of the pressure off them because we didn't know about it, and if we had, we would have brought it to their attention sooner. So, I have no problem with, well, we don't need to do the waiver if we're going to approve this tonight, right, Paul?
Correct.
Yeah,
This
okay.
would be approving it as if you were approving it from the start.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Hogan. Mr. Runyon?
No question.
Mr. Priest?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, in terms of quantity, how much more alcohol is now included in the store?
How much more alcohol is, okay, I don't know the answer to that. Can you?
Can you come up,
Why don't you
can you come up
yeah.
to the microphone? Just identify yourself for the record.
Ben Darvish. So of course, we have more variety because now we freed that part of the store to have more variety. When we took over, it was deprived of a lot of things. So this gave us opportunity to cater to the needs of people who walk in there. There were a lot of demands of this brand and that brand and this brand, and there was no possibility over there on the other side.
Right. I'm asking the question because it looks like from a cooler perspective, there's a 1-to-1 ratio in terms of transfer, but from floor stands, and again, I don't have dimensions on these, but I'm just going based off of what I'm seeing from the first layout to the second layout. You've got the one long one and the two wine, and then over here we've got the one long one and we've got 4 beer wine. So I'm just curious in terms of like alcohol out on the floor at any given time, from a percentage standpoint, how much more alcohol is going to be present? Because again, from the onset, I never loved the idea of gas stations having, package stores in them. And because it was grandfathered, I had no problem with the transfer. But because you're flipping it and taking, that space and using it, which is great, I just want to understand how much more alcohol is going to be on the floor at a given time.
I don't know exactly the volume of the alcohol on the floor, but we have a good variety. That's
Okay, that's not really answering my question.
Can you make it clear for me? What do you mean exactly?
I mean, in terms of like how many bottles, cans, etc., you had versus what you're going to have.
Sir, can you,
It's identical.
sir, you need to identify yourself.
My name's Brian.
It's identical.
Oh, sir, all right.
We moved the exact racks from that end of the store to the other end of the store. So we didn't add gondolas, we didn't add extra shelving, we used the exact racks.
Okay.
So from a floor standpoint, it's identical.
Okay, that's not what it shows in the plans, which is why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you had, you just moved.
We dragged across the store, exactly.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Just want to be clear. Thank you for clarifying.
Thank you. Anything else?
No, that's all, Mr. Chairman.
That was, my concern too was highlighted the liquor in the previous floor plan, and then you highlighted in the updated floor plan, and let's just say there's a lot more highlight in the second one than the first one. So that's why I think that raised a question. There are individual squares or rectangles highlighted, but those same squares and rectangles are highlighted in the second version, along with a long sort of shelf, whatever that may be.
These are the shelves. Over
Cooler.
Cooler.
This needs to be highlighted.
That's why I think,
Makes it exactly the same.
yes,
Have a couple of copies of this.
Yeah. Do you have this plan with the shaded or,
So that was what we were given.
okay.
So this one shows it better for you to see that it's the same. Up here was missing on ours. It should have been highlighted as well.
okay. So, Mark, do you have a second one?
Yeah, those are the ones I made copies. I apologize.
All right, because we have something different.
No, so, Mark, so what I'm saying is even with the highlighted area, because I saw these labeled beer, right? You count them off and you got 4 across here and 2 in the corner for 6. So I transfer those to the 6 walk-ins off to the side, right?
Okay.
And then I see here beer, wine, and then 2 wine racks over here, but on this schematic, I've got a beer, wine, which looks like it's the exact same size as the beer, wine from display 1. But then now I've got 4 beer, wine racks of a different size than the 2 wines that were on the floor. So I'm with you on the cooler transfer. It was just what was on the floor that I was confused about.
579 according.
But if that's still a discrepancy and I'm still missing something,
579.
From a, that's more of an as-built, we could provide an as-built, this was more just a drawing more for operations, just as far as dragging stuff down and setting up the store.
okay, all right. Again, as long as it's a 1-to-1 and all you did was
Yeah.
move what you had to what you got now, that's fine. I just, when I see here something different than what I'm being told, just want to clarify it, that's all. So that's fine. As long as it's a 1-to-1, I'm on the same page.
So I think that this clears it up a little. What we had here is different than what you've just given us, so.
If you have an updated one for the record, that'd be great. That will just show the 1-to-1. I mean, I'm not gonna hold approval on that, but this is, I mean, it's fine.
All right, anything further? Okay, we're gonna go out to the public. Anybody, any member of the public have any questions or comments regarding this agenda item? There being none, I'll be looking for a motion, sorry.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to clarify Selectman Hogan's question. Betty advised that the select board should vote to continue the waiver, as AL Prime is still updating their paperwork with the state at this time as well.
So 2 votes.
2 votes, please,
To approve the continuation
of the waiver,
of the waiver and the approval of the,
depending upon what you're going to do on that vote, but please do continue the approval of the waiver.
okay.
So, in that case, nothing from the public, I'll be looking for a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll move. Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained, 500 to close the public hearing.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I'm going to ask that we approve the continuation of the waiver separately from whatever vote we take on the other part, but I'll make that motion first.
is there a second to the waiver continuance?
Second.
All right, it's moved and seconded to approve the waiver continuance. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained, 500 on the waiver. Now I'll be looking for an approval for the alteration.
Continuation.
All right, continuation or approval?
Continuation. I'll make a motion to continue.
All right, so there's a motion to continue the approval of the alteration of premises.
You want to vote to approve it or vote against it?
Yeah.
These are the plans.
All right,
So
so-
you're approving the plans
That's
for
what
the
I thought, yeah.
changes, yeah.
All right, so we are gonna take a motion to approve. No, we were just continuing the waiver.
Okay.
So I'm looking for a motion
I heard
to
about
approve or deny the alteration of premises.
I'll make that motion. To approve.
Okay, motion's been made to approve the alteration. Is there a second? Is a second to that? All those in favor of approving the alteration of premises, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Abstained. 410 on the approval of the alteration.
Just want to clarify.
Yeah.
Are we supposed to continue the continuance? Or are we supposed to approve that like we did?
The waiver continuance was continued.
No, it was approved.
We continued the waiver.
We continued the waiver.
Yes.
Waiver.
Okay.
All right.
There's too many of the same word in that sentence. All right, thank you, Paul.
All right, that's it.
Thank you so much.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. Next item is 216, appointment of election workers. Ms. Warfield.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman.
Evening.
I'm Amy Warfield, the town clerk. This is an annual thing that we have to do. Every year, you all need to approve the potential election workers list. So I've provided you with a list there. We did have a lot of people come forward because of 2020, so we've got some new people on the list.
Okay, any discussion on the list that she's already presented to us?
Great list.
Great list? Okay.
You have enough people this year, Amy?
Excuse me?
Do you have enough people?
Yeah, we usually do have enough people, and especially with 2020, we had a lot more people that expressed interest and came forward, so we're in pretty good shape for the next year.
Awesome.
Excellent.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the election workers list.
Okay.
I'm not reading all those names.
No,
As
no,
presented.
you don't have to read all
As
of them.
presented.
As presented.
Thank
Okay,
you,
is
Mr.
there a
Chairman.
second to approve the election workers?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the list of election workers as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained, 500 on the approval of the election workers. Next item, 217, is approval of the setting the 2022 annual town elections and town meeting. Ms. Warfield.
Yes, so for 2022, like always, we have 3 town meetings and an annual election. Requesting that the annual election be set to April 9th, 2022. And then for town meeting, the 4 dates that town meeting will start will be January 24th, which is a Monday, May 9th, which is also a Monday, and because of the holiday in September, I'm requesting that we will start town meeting in September on the 28th. We try to work around holidays and those types of things all the time.
Okay, any questions or comments regarding the dates as presented for 2022?
Just want to make sure Nick wrote down April 9th.
April 9th?
Yeah.
All right. No questions or comments. I'll look for a motion to approve the setting of the 2022 annual town elections and town meetings.
I'll make a motion to approve the dates for town meeting, the election as presented.
Okay,
Second?
second, moved and seconded to approve the dates as submitted. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500. And Amy, discussion regarding the reapportionment, redistricting.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This third item is something we have to do every 10 years after we get the federal census numbers. Because of 2020, this was all delayed. And so what I'm requesting is that you set up the committee that will be doing the redistricting. I've just found out, actually, that we probably will be getting preliminary numbers on Thursday, August 12th. So as soon as we get the numbers, as soon as the state gets the numbers, we will get the numbers. I've been talking with Ken Gordon to make sure we kind of get those as soon as possible. And then to set up the committee, working on what we had 10 years ago, that committee is 7 people, 2 select board members, 3 town meeting members, one of whom is on the bylaw review committee, the moderator and the town clerk make up that committee. And once we get the numbers, we can start to get going on what redistricting we might have to do.
I think I've had a discussion with Amy that myself and Selectman Hogan would represent the Board of Selectmen.
Okay.
Obviously moderator and town clerk, so we need 3 town meeting members.
Right. And usually that's up to the moderator to appoint them.
Okay,
So I'd be glad to take, town meeting members can reach out to myself or to the moderator if they're interested in doing it. The biggest thing with this committee is we will need to get going on this right away because of the delay. The time frame that we're going to be dealing with is about a month and a half to be able to get the numbers, get going on it, and get that information back to the state for the final putting it all together.
Okay, So even though it's a select board committee, are you gonna be the one reaching out to the moderator and town meeting
Yeah,
members?
I will.
All right,
Yeah.
so we don't.
I've already talked with Mr. Byer, so he's aware of this all coming down, so.
Okay. Any questions or discussion on this, this reapportionment redistricting committee? There being none, I'll be looking for a motion to approve the formation of a 7-member committee to review the current laws, propose changes, and submit warrant articles. 2 members, which will be select board members, 3 town meeting members, 1 of whom will be on the bylaw review committee, the town moderator, and the town clerk or designee.
So moved.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded to approve that committee. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, 500.
Thank you so much,
All right,
Joey.
Amy, thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
Okay, we did 219, 220, the use of the common Diwali in September. Thank you for being patient. We were moving right along and then things just kind of hit a roadblock. Just identify yourself for the board and give your presentation.
First of all, good evening, Mr. Chairman, other board members. Nice to see all of you in person.
Good to see you too.
I am Indra Deb. I'm the treasurer of Indian Americans for Burlington. And I have with me our president, Ms. Sheetal Bhamar.
Hi, guys.
And also we have the executive committee members, Mr. Anil Saigal and Ms. Deepa Agarwal. Now, as you know, we are here for the approval. As usual, we do the Diwali functions every year. Last year, we had to do it online. So I want Sheetal, if you...
Thank you for the opportunity to present to the board members here. Just like 2019, we would like to host a Diwali celebration along with the Burlington community on September 26th. It's a Sunday, and he's already dancing, so he knows what we're going to offer. We would like to reserve the town common use from 3 to 7. The main cultural event would be from 4:30 to 6:30, and then tree lighting after dusk. To prepare for this meeting, we've already reached out to Rec Department. We've spoken to Brendan. We've also met the Board of Health because we will have a couple of food vendors. You know, we don't want our spectators to go hungry. As well as, just like every year, we'll have some small business vendors there as well, giving them a little boost. They need it, you know, this year, especially with what happened last year. Our theme this year is going to be healing for humanity. So we want to make sure that, you know, we bring peace as well as cheer. Everybody needs that these days, especially after what we've been through. We're also proposing like a 2-minute silence for all the people we have lost during the fight with COVID.
Thank you.
Questions?
Any questions or comments? Joe, you've got to have some comment. I know this is one of your favorite events.
Why is it always me?
I know it's one of my favorite events, so I know it's got to be one of your favorites.
It's absolutely one of my favorite events. I love the color, I love everything about it. It's bright, it's cheery, it's enjoyable, it's everything you could want.
Thank you.
Can't wait.
Michael?
Me and Mr. Sagarino, we're gonna dance this year.
Hold on, that's public record, so we got that. He's gonna be.
Oh, I forgot Mr. Priest is gonna be there with us.
Yes.
Put my name down.
Make any comments? Or?
No, I mean, it's a wonderful event. I love going. I love taking the kids. You'll absolutely see us there. So, I mean, it's great.
Mr. Hogan?
No, I've enjoyed it, and I'm so glad that you guys came to us and decided to make it more public and invite everybody to come and join you. It's a wonderful event.
Thank you.
I have one question. When town of Burlington is gonna sponsor this event? That's the day we are waiting for.
All right. I do have one question. Who's behind that mask right there? 'Cause she hasn't spoken a word, and I've never seen her quiet, so There you go. There we go. I knew it was you. I've
No,
never
no.
heard you quiet. That's
She is
all.
not done. She is still with us and she helps
We
a lot.
won't let her go.
No, I just.
The dance teacher.
No, she's the powerhouse.
Oh, yes, she is.
Yes.
Again, I just want to echo what the other select board member said. It's a great event. It's a lively event. It's just so much energy, and culture and all in a short amount of time. It is truly a great event.
Thank you.
74 years, right? 74?
We've done it, 3 years. Last year we couldn't do it because of COVID. We had to do it virtual.
We did it online.
We did it
on
virtually.
virtual.
Yeah.
Okay, nothing further, then I'll be looking for a motion to approve the use of the town common. Oh, sorry.
Yes, so we have one more request also. We would like to advertise the event just like every time we've done it. 2 weeks in advance, if you could put the banner either in the gazebo or near the corner.
That goes through the office.
Yeah, that's
They
something
control that, so if you just contact them, they'll work out a schedule with you for that.
And just to
Okay.
give you a heads up notice, usually the corner post, that's reserved for a town event or someone who's already been grandfathered in. We do have to limit the use of that, so I'm not sure what the result will be, but that's typically limited to town-sponsored events.
Okay. And, but could we, could we make the post next to the corner?
Why don't you put the request through the office?
But then, and they'll walk it through with
Yeah,
you.
we'll deal with that as a separate issue.
Sounds good.
And we have our rainy day request the next Sunday, if we cannot do on September 26th. it will be on
October 3rd.
October 3rd.
October 3rd. September 26th and October 3rd. So I'll be looking for a motion to approve this.
October,
3rd.
but October
It's
is
the
on
day
the
after.
second, okay,
Yeah.
Yep.
okay.
Busy weekend if the rain
There a
down.
motion to approve the use of the town common September 26th with a rain date of October 3rd.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay.
Okay, moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? 500.
Thank you.
We are inviting all of you, as usual, every day.
Try to keep us away.
You.
Invitation or not, try to keep us away.
We also invite you to participate in dances if you are interested.
Mr. Sagarino, do we have to post that? Because that's one of the only events every year that all 5 of us show up at,
Exactly.
other than meetings.
Check with town
All right.
council.
We don't all act like selectmen that
That-
day.
That would pretty much finish our, you're all set.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you all for coming out.
Pretty much finish our agenda because we've already gone over everything else.
Citizens' time, Mr. Chairman.
Citizens' time. Okay, we have someone waving their hand. And, is that Eileen?
Thank you.
Okay,
Hi,
is that
guys.
Eileen?
Yes, hi, good evening, everyone. It's Eileen Stickler, town meeting member of precinct 4. I'm just requesting that you guys move citizens' time to the beginning of the agenda. Not that I haven't enjoyed the whole Bacito thing, but, I just think, by having a time certain, it really engenders communication with the board, and it's just much more user-friendly. And also, if you're concerned about people around, going on, I think on the agenda, you can simply say, this is limited to 3 minutes or what have you. But anyway, I've always thought that was important to have it at the beginning, if not also at the end, but certainly at the beginning.
All right, Eileen, I know we did get this request once before, and as chairman, I get the honor of making that decision, and in my opinion, citizens' time is 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, because communication back when citizens' time was put into the meeting, we didn't have email, didn't have cell phones, and now I know I'm contacted a lot, so in my opinion, citizens' time is any time during the week. We do allot that one section of our meeting for something that's not on the agenda, but to me, citizens' time is anytime. You can reach out to me, anybody can reach out to us at any time. So that's why we haven't changed it, because my opinion is, we have 24/7 citizens' time.
So that's good, thank you for that. However, the sort of the problem with that is, that's me and you talking. If I send you an email, that's just the two of us, versus me asking a question or, making a comment, then that's for everyone who's listening. So it just takes it out of the you and me and broadens the discussion.
I kind of like that you and makes it personal and we get to know each other. So I think,
It still can be, but anyway, I think you get where I'm
I
going.
got your message. Thank you, Eileen. Anybody else for citizens' time? Again, just for the record, our emails, our phone numbers are all available through the office and the town report, the website. Don't hesitate to call, or I'm gonna get myself in trouble here. Don't hesitate to call or email us for anything. We're here 24/7. We may not answer it right away because it's sleeping or something, but that's my thing.
Before we adjourn,
Yes.
and not as a subcommittee or anything, but everybody's been informed and everybody's aware that Legal Seafood is closing for a while.
Yeah, to remodel, yes.
Yeah, well,
Well,
it's up in the air as to what the exact reason is, but they're gonna be closed for a couple of months.
Ownership. Ownership.
Yeah.
Right?
all right,
Something you probably want to put on an agenda if you want to discuss, Mr. Chairman.
okay, can throw that on. Anybody else for citizens' time? Anything? All right, being none, I'll be looking for a motion to adjourn.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
is Patricia's hand up? I can't tell.
Patricia's
Oh,
shaking her head.
Patricia, your camera's very cloudy too. I don't know what it is.
I think she might have-
Patricia, go ahead, you're on
Go ahead,
citizens.
you're on citizens' time.
Thank you very much. My camera is blurry to hide the clutter in the background. The two things, if I may. One is I want to thank Clerk Warfield for her willingness to understand the community needs in terms of the dates of our of the kind of election activities and town meetings. I know she reaches out to different members of the community to make sure that we can all participate fully. So kudos to her on that. The second is, as a member of the former town meeting transportation committee, one of our requests had been to get a full inventory of transportation assets in town, including the schools and other areas. And we were looking for that for the September town meeting. And I wanted to make sure you knew that we were available if there were any questions on the kinds of information that we were looking for. So those are just my two comments.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Patricia.
Patricia.
Thank you. Anything else?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, made a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Adjourn.